Think the Middle Ages are long gone? Look again. Across Europe and beyond, blacksmiths are forging swords again, stonemasons are building castles with their bare hands, and people are walking away from modern life to live, dress, and work like it's the year 1200. This isn't a fantasy or a game. It's a growing cultural movement called Neo-Medievalism, a strange blend of nostalgia, rebellion, and rediscovery. In a time of digital overload, many are finding comfort in something ancient, the rhythm, craftsmanship, and spiritual order of the medieval world. And whether you've noticed it or not, traces of the Middle Ages are appearing everywhere, from social media trends to the architecture of new homes, from fashion runways to online communities that worship knights, kings, and castles. So why is the modern world suddenly obsessed with the Middle Ages? And what does this fascination reveal about who we've become? Today, on Medieval Uncovered, we'll explore how the spirit of the Middle Ages is quietly rising again, and why the medieval world might hold the answers to our modern problems. Scroll through Instagram or TikTok, and the evidence is everywhere. People filming themselves forging swords by hand, brewing mead, or sewing medieval gowns with natural fabrics. Others practice long-forgotten arts, falconry, archery, calligraphy, and blacksmithing, all captured in 4K under golden sunlight, soundtracked by the hum of medieval lutes. In an age defined by speed, instant gratification, and synthetic everything, the raw authenticity of medieval craft feels almost revolutionary. A loaf of bread baked in a clay oven, a hand-carved wooden cup, a simple life free from notifications and noise. For many, the Middle Ages represent not hardship, but honesty. Take Guédelon Castle in France, one of the most ambitious historical experiments in the modern world. Since the late 1990s, artisans and historians have been rebuilding a full-scale 13th century castle using only the tools, materials, and methods available at the time. No modern machines, no shortcuts, just stone, sweat, and centuries-old knowledge. Visitors don't just watch history, they walk through it, seeing every strike of the hammer, every rope pulley, every cartload of limestone hauled by hand. Projects like this have inspired thousands of people to reconnect with the tangible skills of the past, to touch, to build, to create, instead of clicking and scrolling, because maybe, deep down, we're tired of living in a world made entirely of pixels. Neo-medievalism is not about going backward. It's about reclaiming what we lost in our race toward progress. In the modern world, everything moves faster. Communication, production, even relationships. But the faster life moves, the more people seem to long for slowness, ritual, and meaning, for the feeling of belonging to something bigger than themselves. The Middle Ages, for all their brutality, offered that. Every person had a role, from the peasant to the priest, from the knight to the craftsman. Life was structured by rhythms of the land and the church, by seasons and festivals. There was struggle, but also purpose. That sense of belonging is what modern movements like slow living and homesteading are rediscovering. People grow their own food, make their own tools, and live off-grid, not because they must, but because they crave authenticity. It's not that they want to return to medieval hardship, it's that they want to escape modern emptiness. As paradoxical as it sounds, the more advanced our civilization becomes, the more we crave the simplicity of the world we left behind. But neo-medievalism didn't start in the fields or blacksmith shops. It started on our screens. For millions, their first glimpse of the medieval world came through pop culture. Game of Thrones, The Witcher, The Last Kingdom, Elden Ring, Kingdom Come, Deliverance. Stories and games that made the Middle Ages feel alive again. In these worlds, honor and loyalty still matter. Courage, sacrifice, and community still define heroes. And in a society where morals often feel blurred, these old virtues shine brighter than ever. When viewers lose themselves in those worlds, they're not just escaping into fantasy, they're longing for structure, for clarity, for moral weight. The medieval age gives them that, a world where choices have consequences, and duty often trumps comfort. Even our architecture, fashion, and music echo this revival, from Gothic arches and stone textures in modern homes, to metal bands, fantasy festivals, and medieval fairs drawing thousands of people dressed as knights, queens, monks, and peasants. The line between reenactment and identity is beginning to blur. We aren't just admiring the Middle Ages, we're rebuilding them in pixels, bricks, and beliefs. But behind the armor and aesthetics lies something deeper, a longing for meaning. In the medieval world, life was hard, but it had order. People lived by codes, beliefs, and responsibilities passed down for generations. Today, in a world flooded with information and options, many feel unanchored, floating in a sea of uncertainty. That's why we see the rise of modern orders and guilds, sword combat schools, historical reenactment societies, even digital communities dedicated to medieval virtues. Men and women who dedicate themselves to ideals like chivalry, craftsmanship, and community. They may not wear armor, but they share the same hunger for purpose that drove the knights of old. This is the heart of Neo-Medievalism, not costumes or castles, but values, a rebellion against the shallow and the temporary, a return to the enduring and the real. Even architecture is echoing this shift. After decades of sterile glass towers and soulless modern design, we're seeing a return to texture, form, and symbolism. Arches, stonework, stained glass, and fortress-like homes are appearing again, not out of nostalgia, but out of a need for grounding. People crave spaces that feel permanent, like they belong to a story larger than one lifetime. Luxury brands, too, are embracing the medieval aesthetic, intricate metalwork, handcrafted jewelry, and garments inspired by royal tapestries and monastic robes. Runways shimmer with chainmail textures and heraldic symbols. What was once ancient is now avant-garde. Even online, we see the aesthetic spreading. Dark academia, cottagecore, knightcore, clericcore. Each one is a modern translation of medieval identity, filtered through our digital lens. It's as if the internet, our most futuristic creation, has become a stage for resurrecting the past. But perhaps the most profound question is why? Why, after centuries of progress, do we keep looking backward? Maybe it's because the Middle Ages remind us of what we've lost: community, craftsmanship, spirituality, and connection to the land. In chasing efficiency, we've abandoned meaning. In chasing speed, we've lost direction. The medieval world, despite its flaws, was built on faith, not just religious faith, but faith in purpose. Every task, from plowing a field to forging a sword, carried a sense of sacred duty. Today, surrounded by abundance, many feel spiritually starved. So neo-medievalism isn't just nostalgia, it's a quiet protest, a rebellion against disconnection, a desire to live a life that feels human again. It's the same reason people attend Renaissance fairs, read historical epics, or wear medieval pendants. It's not about pretending to be someone else. It's about remembering what we once were and what we still could be. Some call this obsession with the past escapism, but maybe it's not escape. Maybe it's rediscovery. Every era looks back for guidance. The Romans looked to Greece. The Renaissance rediscovered Rome. And now, in an age of uncertainty, we look to the Middle Ages, not for their wars or plagues, but for their humanity. We're rediscovering the art of patience, the beauty of imperfection, and the honor of belonging to something beyond ourselves. A world where stories were sacred, work was worship, and even the humblest craftsman believed his labor mattered. That spirit, that medieval heartbeat, never truly died. It lives on in every artist, every dreamer, every builder who still believes that meaning is worth more than convenience. So maybe the Middle Ages aren't returning through time machines or fantasies. Maybe they're returning through us, through our hands, our homes, our stories, our choices. Because no matter how modern we become, there's a part of us, quiet, ancient, and yearning, that still believes in castles, in faith, in community, in something greater than ourselves. And that is why the medieval spirit will never die. Thanks for watching Medieval Uncovered. If you enjoyed this journey through time, subscribe for more untold stories of the past, reborn for today.